What is the best movie you've ever seen starring Ryan Gosling? Under Project Hail Mary, I'm ranking all 27 of his films where he has a significant role from my least favorite to my favorite. I like the large majority of these. There's some good stuff here you maybe haven't seen. Let me know your favorite down in the comments. Between Remember the Titans and The Notebook, Ryan Gosling made 4 incredibly dark films, the fourth of which I think is his worst. It's called The United States of Leland. In this film, Gosling plays a young man who takes the life of his ex's little brother who has an intellectual disability, and the film tries to be very edgy and sort of create this justification or reasoning behind that action. It does not succeed. It is a dull piece of shit. It is not worth watching. Entry in that dark string of 4, a 2002 film called Murder by Numbers that stars him alongside Sandra Bullock. This feels like a bad episode of a police procedural. It's not interesting. It's tough to get through. Would not recommend. Also at 1 star, I have Terrence Malick's Song to Song, which I think is the cinematic equivalent of eating pizza with a fork and a knife. Slightly better, I have the absolutely ridiculous Gangster Squad from 2013, where Gosling is doing an absurd accent here. Sean Penn is going bananas as Mickey Cohen. I'd love a film about Mickey Cohen's connections to Jack Ruby, but I'm assuming that will never happen. Next, I have the 2022 movie that the Russo brothers made for Netflix called The Gray Man. I think is ever so slightly edged out by Only God Forgives, where Nicholas Winding Refn tried to recreate his magic with Gosling from Drive. It did not work. Slightly better, I have The Fall Guy, which is the type of movie I hope Gosling becomes allergic to. I think he was really wasted here. I think this movie is pretty much a big nothing. By the sometimes cliche, sometimes interesting, very up and down, all good things, which is most interesting for the fact that this led indirectly to the arrest of Robert Durst, who Gosling was playing under another name. A whole video about that before. It's a wild story. Highly recommend you go check out the story. Don't rush to watch the film. So I have The Place Beyond the Pines, which people seem to absolutely love. I generally like the portions of this film Gosling is in. The back half of this film becomes this weird piece of propaganda with Bradley Cooper. I do not like it at all. This film is beautiful though because it introduced Gosling and his future wife, Ava Mendes. They met on set here, have been together ever since. They have great chemistry in the film. It's a beautiful Hollywood love story, in my opinion. Speaking of love stories, next I have The Notebook. I think this movie is fine. I think it's very toxic. I think it's very strange. I think there's a lot of things in this movie that are pretty problematic. Gosling in this film is essentially an emotionally manipulative stalker, and it's tolerated because he is handsome. Besides a fairly odd, somewhat uncomfortable, arguably problematic film from 2002, it's kind of a coming-of-age football drama set in rural Montana called The Slaughter Rule. Those football films doesn't have that much to do with football. This is from the Smith brothers. It tackles physical abuse, it tackles fatherhood, it tackles substance abuse, it tackles sexuality and repression and violence. There's so much going on here. I don't think all of it works, but I do think I'm overall positive on it. The Ides of March is worth watching. It's an underseen, Clooney-directed political drama, and Gosling's very good. Barbie will go down as one of the funniest, fake outrage movies ever. This is a very boilerplate, everyone should be nice to everyone kind of movie, and it really is centered around Ryan Gosling. With 3.5 stars, I have La La Land. Some good choreography here. It's nice to look at. It's pleasant enough. I don't find the romance to be very compelling. This is also a jazz white savior film, essentially. All in all, it just doesn't really hit for me like it does for many. Speaking of which, I think The Nice Guys is just very good. I don't think it's great. I don't find the mystery here that compelling. I don't find the comedy to be that funny, but it's, again, really pleasant to watch. It's fun. I'm glad I watched it. Remember the Titans is next. Debated leaving it off this list because his role is not huge, but wouldn't feel right leaving it off. Up close to 4 stars, Fracture is a very bizarre psychological thriller crime film with Gosling going toe-to-toe with Anthony Hopkins, matching him bar for bar. They're both spectacular. It's a lot of fun. It's darkly funny. It's very thoughtful. Go watch Fracture. 2006, Ryan Gosling became the 7th youngest nominee ever for Best Actor and was well-deserved for Half Nelson. A struggling young teacher, I think this film kind of holds up a strange inverse mirror to Project Hail Mary. Between Half Nelson and The Notebook, he made a very dark film called Stay alongside Ewan McGregor and Naomi Watts. It's written by David Benioff, directed by Mark Forster, who's had a very up and down career. The ending will leave you either hating this film or absolutely loving what it was doing. For me personally, it really worked. Slightly better, I have Crazy Stupid Love, which I think is an all-time rom-com. We've seen 3 Gosling-Stone romances. I think this is the strongest. Closing out my 4 stars, I have his first big leading break back in 2001 called The Believer. For the sake of this video, I'm not going to tell you what this movie's about. Go look it up yourself. Go watch the film. It is a powerful performance. Jumping to 4.5 stars, I have Project Hail Mary, which I've already talked about at length. Slightly better, I have one of the most devastating films you'll ever watch in your life, Blue Valentine. And The Big Short, which is sort of a heist movie where everyone is evil and all the bad guys win. The American people obviously lost, and the film shows very carefully how and why we lost and who benefited. My top 4, I have 3 movies that kind of deconstruct different parts of the idea of the masculine hero. I absolutely love Drive. I think this movie is beautiful. It shows very carefully what violence does to people. Also think this is kind of a funny inverse of The Fall Guy. Third, I have Lars and the Real Girl, which on the surface you might think is fairly uncomfortable, but just underneath that surface is a really beautiful movie about community and how we can uplift the people around us who might need help in a given moment. He's made a lot of romances. Funny enough, I think this is his best. Second, I have one of the best pieces of science fiction ever made, one of the best sequels of all time, Blade Runner 2049. First, I have what I think is Damien Chazelle's best movie, and the movie I would assume put the bug into Ryan Gosling to start pursuing Project Hail Mary, that is First Man from back in 2018. The movie takes a prickly American hero in Neil Armstrong and peels him back in ways that are beautiful and gut-wrenching to watch. If you want to hear more on Project Hail Mary itself, go listen to the new episode of Goodwill Podcasting. It's now live all of these places. We were joined by Kalpana, who was one of the most fantastic creators I've ever met on this app. She's a fascinating blend of passion for science and film, has written a book, has her own podcast. Go check out her page on here. Go check out the episode. Hope you guys enjoy.